Hi there. I'm making this video to suggest and encourage you and to try and persuade you to support research that relates for strategies for engineered negligible sentience. And I will call that SENS because that is the acronym of what it would be. So SENS, why should you support SENS research? Well, before I say that, let me tell you where you can get more information and background on SENS. You can read a book called Ending Aging by Aubrey de Grey and Michael Ray to learn in-depth knowledge about SENS. And it's basically a proposed set of theories that could enable humans to live indefinitely if the theories are successfully implemented. It basically, in a nutshell, as far as I understand it, says there's 7 reasons why we age fundamentally. Some of them are DNA, nuclear mutations, mitochondrial mutations, intracellular junk, extracellular junk, cellular crosslinks, then cell aging, and cell loss. So I think that's 7. I think that's all 7. So basically, if we can stop or reverse the damage, then we can potentially live indefinitely. That's the theory. You don't have to believe it. Go look up videos of Aubrey de Grey talking, or go read his books to, and hopefully that will convince you. I'm just trying to give you general information and tell you why it's good. And it's good because aging and death are tragic. Infirmity is tragic. Alzheimer's is tragic. Other age-related diseases are tragic. And that is the biggest and best reason why you should support this sort of research. And I've told people about this. The most common comeback is, well, it would be a horrible... Well, there's really 2 that I tend to hear. One is that it would be horrible to live indefinitely. Who would want to live 1,000 years? That'd be horrible. Well, my response to that, in a nutshell, is 1, these therapies should be voluntary. They should never be required for anybody to take them. So, you could probably stop taking them at any point or never take them and still die. But at least humans would have the option of living indefinitely. Additionally, I think suicide should be considered a civil right. So we should change the laws to outlaw civil commitment in psychiatric holds. So again, if these therapies are successfully implemented and you start taking them, well, rather than have to stop and wait a while, you could simply check out whenever you want. I'm not encouraging suicide, but I think it should be a civil right and a human right for adults, even though it shouldn't be encouraged. In fact, we should persuade people not to, using kindness and non-coercive, non-forceful persuasion. But that's a whole other story. But that's my response to that as well. Then the other response that I hear when I tell people about this is that, the Earth simply couldn't hold that many people. If we all lived 1,000 years or more, then the Earth would simply not be able to sustain it. And my response to that is that, well, if we're smart enough to put humans on the moon, put humans in space, and to create therapies to stop aging, then I think we're smart enough to solve the problems that these sorts of therapies could bring on as far as overpopulation goes. Additionally, there's already people who want to colonize Mars, and there's researchers like Harold White with NASA who's doing research into, I think it's warp field mechanics or warp field theory, which basically could lead to warp drive technology, which could lead to interstellar travel. And anyway, my point is we're probably going to colonize other planets eventually. So that's another counterpoint to that problem of overpopulation. And then lastly, one of the side effects of one of the therapies is potentially male sterility. So again, we would likely have we might have a fertility drop because of that. And additionally, people would probably be smart enough not to ruin the Earth with overpopulation. That's my opinion. Again, if we're smart enough to put humans on the moon, put humans in space, we're smart enough to know when we need to reproduce a little less. So that's my responses to that. So that's another reason, in a nutshell, why we should support SENS research, is that we're likely smart enough to overcome the problems that they might create if they're successfully implemented. Yeah, and how can you support SENS research? Well, you can donate money to the SENS Research Foundation. If you're a young adult or somebody who wants to go to school, you can go to school and study biomedical gerontology or genetics or another area that could allow you to try to conduct research related to SENS therapies and radical life extension. And yeah, so is any of this a sure bet? Probably not. No, these are theories at this point. None of this is proven. You know, the sort of, well, the most technologically out there things I mentioned, as far as, you know, radical life extension, living indefinitely, and, you know, colonizing other planets, those are potentialities. Those are things that have not been proven impossible, so therefore they might be possible, and therefore, in my opinion, it's worth seeing how far we can push the limits of human capabilities and progress. So yeah, I hope you found this interesting. Also, as far as what I mentioned about civil commitment and you know, all that, I recommend 2 books and the author's other books as well, but 2 books primarily. One is Fatal Freedom: The Ethics and Politics of Suicide, and the other is Suicide Prohibition: The Shame of Medicine. They're both by a psychiatrist named Thomas Szasz. He passed away in 2012 at the age of 92. His first sort of well-known book was The Myth of Mental Illness. And then, just to reiterate, the other book I recommended was Ending Aging. I can't remember the full title, or the subtitle, I should say. It's like the rejuvenation breakthroughs that may stop human aging in our lifetimes, something along those lines. Anyway, if you type it into a search engine, Ending Aging, Aubrey de Grey, it should pop up. And Thomas Szasz, who I mentioned, wrote about 35 books in total about, so I recommend pretty much all of them, really, if you're interested in psychology and politics and philosophy. But yeah, anyway, I'll end it there. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, watch my other videos, visit my websites, and have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, or night, whenever and wherever you may be.